In today's video I'm breaking down and reviewing The Walking Dead Season 11 Episode 4, Rendition. Of course, before we begin, make sure you subscribe so that you are the first to see my videos. And very soon I'm finally going to start live streaming on my gaming channel, so make sure you go over to there too. Subscribe to that because I want to see you there when I first do it. A drop down box will appear on the top right of your screen right about now. If you just tap or click on that, it will take you straight over there. It will take 2 seconds. So this episode starts off with Daryl and Dog tailing a Reaper. This is where Daryl went to in the ambush, and this Reaper gives him a really cool, a really good fight. Later on in this episode, Leah actually reveals they're all mercenaries, so it's really strange how when Maggie's involved they turn into fucking John Wick extras. It was Daryl and Dog versus this Reaper and they barely managed to even deal with that. This is where we'd see that scene that we saw in the trailer where Dog whines. I assumed that first because I couldn't really get my head around how you could pick up a Belgian Malinois dog, basically a German Shepherd type dog, and have the dog not do anything about it. Dog was mauling on this guy's leg and he just picks him up like a handbag chihuahua and launches him. So Daryl escapes and we catch up to him a few hours later. He's tracking Dog, and as he gets closer to him he hears him whine again, but this time it's different. He finds him and a Reaper has got him, but as we already knew, this was Leah. And at first I was annoyed. I was like, oh you bitch, with your new friends you're gonna ditch him, are you? Especially when you look at the stupid, petty reason she walked out on him for. How dare you spend more time looking for your brother than with me? I'm gonna give you a hurtful ultimatum because I'm selfish. So already that was shitty, and the fact that years later she would do this, hold him at gunpoint with her horrible new friends, I didn't like that at all, and I just thought, okay, well there's no hope for you then if you're gonna be a little bit. So they captured Daryl, and the first thing I noticed was Daryl was breathing. It was like he was scared. And I was like, shut up, he's been in way worse situations. He's been captured many times. Why would he be having some kind of breakdown over this? And I realized when they took the bag off his head, he was actually just genuinely hurt that Leah would do this to him, and it just goes to show the one way to break Daryl isn't violence, it isn't pain, it's to attack his heart. So that was really sad. The only thing with these conversations that Daryl has with Leah is it's really quite strange to see Daryl talk like this with someone and have a romance. Not to say that he can't be like that, but when he does, it sometimes feels like a parody, like a joke. It gives me the exact same feels of that Saturday Night Live thing where Jon Snow is having a relationship with a White Walker. It's that same irregular, out of place, almost a role reversal. And a character as coy as Daryl, it comes across a bit of a joke sometimes. Never liked you, Leah. I'm not going to start now. It's like someone else's lines given to Daryl. I actually do like Daryl and Leah's scenes together. And I like how he said to Leah he's never lied to her. And really, he still hasn't, because he very vaguely told the truth about the people he was with. He really has only known the Wardens for under a week. And he mentions Gabriel, a priest that carries a shotgun, and Negan, a tall skinny guy that doesn't shut up. We see just how much Daryl goes through to protect where he's from, and interestingly, with the episode being called Rendition, where you send a foreign criminal to a place with less rules and regulations for humane treatment to be interrogated less humanely, this is what the Reapers would have done being in the military before the fall. They waterboard Daryl, they put him in a cell. That's quite a protocol thing to do. Now when Daryl is put in that cell, he sees Frost opposite him and he starts to recognize Daryl, so he pretends he doesn't know him, and I thought that was quite clever. That was good. This is where I don't actually think Frost will survive. However, I do think he's going to play a really important part in Daryl continuing to pretend to be a part of the Reapers. I do think Frost is more of a chink in the armor on really testing Daryl to see if he really wants to be a Reaper. And I see some kind of scene where Frost tries to escape and Daryl helps him, but they get caught and then he's made to kill him. That's all I see Frost's story going. The thing is, he was the least interesting warden out of all of them. The others are dead. And so I see literally no benefit to anything about his character now. Apart from possibly acting as Dante in the comics was, but in the show, so basically being in a relationship with Maggie. But if any character is more fitting for that, I think it's Alden. I mean, surely him being called Frost is foreshadowing how he dies, you know, because Frost, ice, fire. He's going to be another Judas likely. But obviously Frost is a prisoner, so it won't be because he's betrayed the Reapers, but the actual meaning of Judas is betrayed Jesus. Now, Daryl passed Pope's test, and he saw something in him. So he wasn't going to burn him alive just for saying he doesn't believe in God. But the prisoner on the enemy side that's refusing to speak and says he doesn't believe in God, that's going to be another Judas. That doesn't mean he's going to get burned alive too. Remember, we've got the people that hang upside down too. That's a calculated death. They've done something in particular to get that fate. But either way, it's really likely they're going to get Daryl to try and kill someone, especially someone that he knows. So Frost is a possibility. It's interesting because when Daryl and Leah are talking in this scene here, we find that Daryl has worked out that there are 15 Reapers, and he reveals their leadership as Gabriel and Negan. So what a surprise, Pope and the rest of the Reapers are going to be targeting a priest that recently killed one of their people, and is changing his view and belief almost of God. He hasn't completely lost hope and belief in God, but it's changed. It's no longer his motivation. His motivation is justice and revenge. The only other character that Daryl described was Negan, who just happened to be the one that killed the Reaper they were all upset about. We're just seeing these people's reaction to losing someone they saw as a brother. And although The Walking Dead doesn't tend to be this inconspicuous about foreshadowing and symbolization, as Leah walks past to see the body, you can see a black horse head chess piece. Of course, in chess, this represents the knight, but it's more of a statuette of an actual black horse head. And the meaning of a black horse or dark horse is a person or thing that rises to prominence in a situation where it's not likely they succeed, but they do. 15, well now 14 Reapers versus Alexandria. Realistically, they shouldn't really win. We've seen they're not evil people. They're quite normal with a really flawed leader. Chances are the Reapers last a lot longer than expected. So then we finally meet Pope. It makes me glad that I didn't sit there and roast him when it first got revealed what he looked like, because while he does look like Super Mario with missing chromosomes, that's besides the point. The reason he didn't look like some big, bad, horrible, evil villain is because he isn't really. He acts as quite a good dad figure to everyone here. Now, it was obvious that at some point he would snap and we'd see, okay, and that's why he's the leader, that's why we should be scared of him. I was expecting that in this scene with Leah, where he's talking to her and actually appears like a dad to her, and it was really quite sweet. I was sitting there like, I quite like you. I thought he'd end up hitting her, but he didn't. He was pretty normal. And that's why at the end, when he burned one of the Reapers alive, I thought it was quite silly. When one of their people died, they were really broken by it, like they had just lost a close family member. Yet when the Pope burned someone alive, they weren't really bothered by it at all. They didn't even blink. Leah had a full breakdown outside of Daryl's cage because she had lost a brother. Yet when the Pope killed one of her brothers in such a horrible way, she looks at Daryl like, this happens a lot, you might want to get used to this. So I do think this is what makes it possible for some Reapers to actually make peace. There could be some Reapers that go to the Commonwealth too, and could be involved in some inner conflict there. There just is potential now for some of these Reapers to turn out to be normal people, because what we saw is that they are normal. They were upset. They're not really evil. I don't see the Pope surviving at all, but what I do see is actually some Reapers having some kind of redemption, because when he did burn one of his own people to death, some of them were surprised but not concerned. Some of them, though, were concerned. And I do think, if anyone, it's going to be Leah. And maybe some of the younger, more impressionable Reapers. You saw some were completely dedicated to this delusion that the Pope's got. It's weird, I've got this inner conflict because I quite like Pope. I like Leah. I don't really like Maggie, so what am I supposed to do with that now? I kind of want them to succeed, minus the whole burning people alive thing. I love that Dog was just sitting there like, what have you got me into, you little fuck? I didn't sign up for this. Dog's lucky that he's a dog and he's a beautiful creation. If he was a 50-year-old man named Barry and he got flung like this, he'd be getting the Nicholas treatment, because that's a joke. When Daryl and Pope had their first conversation together, I again just preferred Pope to Maggie. But I love that he doesn't even punish, scold him for him saying he doesn't believe in God. He almost is quite witty about it and says that's a mistake because you're not him, when Daryl says he believes in himself more than God. In this conversation, Pope explains to Daryl all that he's been through and the other Reapers have been through, and how he feels they're all chosen ones by God because they survived fire. In a nutshell, even before the fall, he went through a lot, and then when the fall did happen, he speaks of him and his people hiding in a church and surviving the blaze, and that's what gave him this delusion. It's not a delusion that he believes in God, it's just how he goes about it. Him thinking that he's the chosen one. Calm down, Kanye. He thinks him and the Reapers are chosen ones, and any evidence that they're not, and there'd be a Judas, he burns them alive. Daryl survived the blaze, so he must have been chosen by God. It's so similar to Beta and the Whisperers, the fact that he thought walkers were some kind of blessing, and his worshipping of Alpha and his almost Whisperer religion. With Pope, if he's actually killed by fire, he would just accept it, because if he's getting killed by it, something that he thought proved he was a chosen one, he wouldn't think life was even worth living, because he sees it as a judgment. I think Pope and the Reapers that are die-hard Reapers will just die. I don't think that's something that can be avoided, but I think with some of the Reapers, especially Leah, they can just shake this delusion, because I don't think most of them even share it with Pope. I mean, it wasn't shown that Leah goes along with this God decides. It's clear they're all one big family, but again, we did see one or two of them weren't happy with it. But what do you think? Do you think Pope will die? Do you think all of the Reapers will die too? Or some of them will be saved? What do you think will happen to Leah? You know, the most obvious thing to happen to her now is Daryl has to kill her on some Game of Thrones shit. Oh no, I've got to kill her. Yeah, be original. And do you think there'll be any connection made between Pope and Gabriel, of course him being a priest and having just killed one of their men? I think the most that would happen with that is Gabriel is the one to kill Pope, because there's some irony to him being the one to kill a man of God. And I think if anything with Gabriel, we'll just get loads of foreshadowings of how he does die. I said before the season even started that what the Reapers do to people, hang people upside down, is a direct foreshadowing of his comic death. Again, just like with his episode with Aaron, it's not showing that he's going to get that exact death, but it's just foreshadowing that he will die because we're seeing how his comic counterpart died. Make sure you comment down below and let me know what you think. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure you press the like button. It actually genuinely helps me out. And if so, then check out my other videos. Check out this one where I talk about Negan and Gabriel finally talking about what they've both witnessed with Jadis and the CRM all those years ago. And watch my video on episode 3 where I talk more about Alden. Will he die? Will he survive somehow? There was a lot that happened in that episode that tells you what's going to happen to Alden. I also talk more about that burnt walker we saw, because of course in this episode we saw more of an example of a Judas, but it's not clear if that actually is who this is. It's interesting because the times of these episodes have been played around with. It could be a few characters. And did I mention I've got a gaming channel now?